I asked my friend Federico to help me make this robotic pumpkin that stands up and opens its arms and pulls out its head. And so it just kind of pops up and then sits back down. That's all it does. But yeah, it won the contest at Ayzenberg, and it hit the front page of Reddit. But it was in the subreddit Shitty Robots. So I feel like that it was totally appropriate.
I've been thinking about how, in advertising, we spend a lot of our time creating, and so much, at least for me, and I've seen it in others that I work with, so much time kind of creating hardcore at work that often when I get home, despite the best intentions, the last thing I want to do is make my own art and make more art and create more. I basically just want to veg and, kind of sleep off the work. And then by the same token, or I should say on the flip side, I feel like there are other times that I'm working outside of work on something so cool, and I let it kind of migrate into the work that I'm doing at the office, or I see this happen for others as well. And I can get really frustrated because I'm not as free to do my work as I am outside of the workplace, where it's just my art. And so I end up pulling my hair out because either my coworkers just don't get it or understand, or the people that, we're creating it for don't get it or understand. And so there's this struggle, right, between work and art, the work-art balance. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I can't think of a better guest to have than Ayzenberg's technical lead, Alana Balagot, who is with us today. Welcome, Alana.
Thank you for having me. Nice to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. You are one of my favorite creators. And I would point out also, when I talk about creativity, I'm often by default talking about creativity that occurs all over our business. It's not like the creative group with a capital C at the advertising agency. We have creative strategists, we have creative accountants, and I'm not just doing lip service. I mean, I really mean that it takes creative problem solving from everyone involved. And in your case, you have this title, technical lead. I think it's a perfect title to do more talking about. What does that mean for you and at Ayzenberg?
Sure. Yeah, I've been at Ayzenberg almost 6 years. And yeah, I love how many creative people there are at Ayzenberg. That's one of the things I love about working here, is getting to work with all these other creative people and seeing what they do both inside and outside of work. I think it's super inspiring. Yeah, so I'm a technical lead on our digital team. So it's a combination of web engineering for new and existing websites, helping managing resources and bandwidth. I'm account facing, so I might consult with clients to meet their technological needs. Brainstorming new ideas and tech feasibility. I am starting to do some solutions engineering, so problem solving for clients, customizing our services to meet their needs, pitching new ideas, brainstorming, training them on our tools and our products. And I'm also helping IT with some web infrastructure. We've got a custom ticketing system and doing domains and DNS, stuff like that.
So how the heck do you get into that? Like if a person wants to be the next technical lead at Ayzenberg after you move it on up, what was your path to get to where you are today?
So I majored in music. I have 2 degrees in music. I went to Oberlin Conservatory for undergrad and majored in composition, and then went to Columbia College Chicago and majored in film music, or music for the screen. But I've always kind of had a foot in both worlds for music and tech. I got my first it was called web programming back in high school when we were just doing HTML. This is before, I'm dating myself, but before CSS and other technologies. And mainly self-taught. I did take a year of computer science at Oberlin, and I was the webmaster at Oberlin for the conservatory there. So was doing tech there, got out of school, played in a punk band in Chicago for a couple of years and had a—
I didn't know that.
Yeah, played drums. And then went back to school for music, worked in a studio out here in LA for a couple of years before getting back into tech. But so I've always kind of been in both worlds.
Well, I was going to go ahead and segue to some of the stuff we worked on together and talk about that really cool project I loved that we did together for ZeniMax Online Studios, the Elder Scrolls Online.
That was a really cool project. So it was a video of the rat stone that was filling in with lava, and users had to engage on Twitch to generate, we called it magic. It was these particle effects to fill in the lava to reveal a trailer at the end. And I'm interested in DJing, I'm interested in VJing, and we figured out that the best technology for this was VJ software, because we had to control like 5 layers at once. There was a mask on top of a back layer, and then we had the lava, and we had to control how fast it was going. So there was architectural hurdles. We had to allow for an API that would take millions of clicks at once. We had just like a record number of engagement for this. So yeah, I'd say my interests in creative coding and VJing, I was able to bring into this project.
And it was so seamless, the way that you brought it in, that I really had no clue that there was that kind of complexity of influence. And I think you also just highlighted for me kind of one of the main categories of the way that creativity outside of work can affect creativity inside of work, is that you can literally just learn things outside of work that, you know, you apply directly to the project that you have at work, which is really cool. And it reminds me as it's a counterpoint to something that you and I talked about in preparing for the show, which was this thing that I read about Albert Einstein. I'm comparing you to Albert Einstein for the record. But this thing that I read about Albert Einstein, that he said all of those great discoveries he made, including the theory of relativity, which are rooted in math and physics, he felt he did not make the connection and actually make that discovery while doing math and physics. Like for him, it was music, which it sounds like it is actually sometimes for you as well. He would purposefully alternate from doing some work on math and physics to going out and playing the piano and working on music. And it was always during the time that his mind was freed from the work and was ostensibly playing that he would make those real critical thinking connections. So that's like a secondary kind of way in which making and creating outside of work can light up what we do at work.
Yeah, I'm not going to compare myself to Einstein, but the way I can relate to that is it's interesting that most people on the digital team play music, and people talk about the connection between math and music, but it's kind of ridiculous. We've got a couple guitarists, we have 2 harpists, we have someone that has a music studio, we have someone that used to build guitars. Like, we've been saying we should start a band because there's just so many musicians in the group.
Another project of yours that I just found thrilling was the kind of Rube Goldberg machine that you made for one of our Microsoft clients for National Pi Day. Tell me a little bit about that and how that was connected to anything that you were doing outside of work.
Yeah, so I've always had an interest in robotics and the Internet of Things, or IoT. And so this is a really fun opportunity. Tanner Thiel and the account team had this idea for a Rube Goldberg device for a spot for Microsoft Store. And it was for Pi Day. So it was using a Raspberry Pi, just a tiny little computer that Microsoft Store sells. And making a Rube Goldberg contraption that would put whipped cream on a pie.
So which came first, the Microsoft Store robotics experiment, or what I think I might have to call the now growing canon of Alana Halloween robots? We've got the pumpkin and the wings and the glasses. Tell me about some of those. And I am really curious if Microsoft Store fell in the middle, beginning, after, et cetera.
I think I did the pumpkin first, and then Tanner and I got to talking about hardware and IoT, and then he had that idea.
Which is a great segue, right, to another reason to create outside of the office that you've highlighted for me before, which is simply building teamwork and collaboration. So I get it. I wanted to talk to you about some of the things you've been doing recently that I'm aware of, and how they have, to some degree, kind of helped to light up your work. You know, some of the other uh, things that we've been talking about in the background have been how creativity outside of work can also help to inspire the kind of workplace that attracts more great creatives in, you know? Um, and so I was thinking about some of these more public facing things that you've been doing recently, like, you know, you sing in the trans choir, you know, tell me about that.
Yeah, I've been singing in the trans chorus since they founded it in 2015. I was there for the first rehearsal. And I've had a lot of experience singing in choirs, so I was quite excited to go to this initial rehearsal. I brought two other friends to the rehearsal, and my wife Becca joined later that year, and I've been with them for going on 6 years now. And we've had a variety of gigs, big and small. We got to sing. We had a little cameo in a video for the inauguration this year, but we've gotten to sing at Dodgers Stadium and Disney Hall, and got to do a TV spot.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree.
I found that really, really moving.
Yeah, it's that was an ad, but it really felt heartfelt. That can be a difficult experience, and not everyone gets to do that, to be out as themselves and be able to go home. So it's really meaningful to people, to trans people in the community, when they are embraced by their family and are able to go home.